inverse functions, radical functions, and relations. And our first lesson is about operations of functions. And today what we're going to do is, our objective is, how do I create new functions by adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing two functions? We've done this before when we talked just in terms of polynomials, and now we're going to do it in function notation. So we want to make a new function through addition. So a new function can be made by adding two functions together. It's the same as adding polynomials. If I am given f of x equals 2x and g of x equals negative x plus 5, then to find the sum function, all I do is add those two functions together. That's it. So my f of x is 2x. My g of x is negative x plus 5. So I get 2x minus x plus 5, and that gives me x plus 5. That is what my f plus g of x equals. I just added it together. If I want to make a new function through subtraction, I can do that by just subtracting the two functions. All right, it's the same as subtracting polynomials. So if my function f of x is 2x and my g of x is negative x plus 5, then I can form the subtraction function called f minus g of x, and that's just going to equal my f of x minus my g of x. And when you're subtracting, you just want to make sure that you subtract off every term. So you have to distribute that negative sign. So I have 2x minus negative x plus 5, and that gives me 2x plus x minus 5, and then I get 3x minus 5. It really is that simple. Okay, just like that. Multiplication. I can make a new function by multiplying the two original functions together, distributing and combining like terms. So I'm going to use those same two polynomials, 2 times x and negative x plus 5. The product function, f times g of x, remember what we do, this is the new function, f times g of x is the same as just multiplying f of x times g of x. So I'm going to do 2x times negative x plus 5. I'm going to distribute, so I get negative 2x squared plus 10x. That's my function f times g of x. Okay? Negative 2x squared plus 10x. Then the last one that we're going to talk about is called a division matrix. Not division matrix, a division function. We're just going to create the quotient, and then we have to just make sure that we make a statement restricting the domain. So we're going to state values of x that the denominator can't equal. So if I have my same two functions, f of x is equal to, whoops, I don't want that, I want my highlighter, 2x, and g of x is equal to x minus 5, I'm just going to make a new function out of their ratios, or make a quotient. So I get 2x over negative x plus 5. Now, I have to have a statement, something that x can't equal. X cannot equal anything that makes the denominator 0. So negative x plus 5 equals 0, negative x equals negative 5, so x cannot equal 5. So as long as x does not equal 5. Okay, that's all you have to do. Now, sometimes if you have a polynomial like that's a quadratic, you'll have to factor it, and you'll have to set each of those equal to 0 to figure out what x can't equal, right? So let's try these two equations and let's add them together. Subtract, make the function, the addition function, make the subtraction function, the multiplication function, and the division function. All right, so I have f plus g of x, so I'm just going to, this is just going to be f of x plus g of x. So I'm just going to add those two together, and I get x squared plus 5x minus 2 plus 3x minus 2. And I'm going to combine like things. So I have x squared, 5x plus 3x is 8x, and negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4. And that is my addition function. Now I can make a function of subtraction, a new function, by subtracting these two. So I'm just going to take f of x and then subtract off g of x. That's all it means. Okay, this is the function f minus g of x. So I'm going to take f of x, x squared, plus 5x minus 2, and I'm going to subtract off 3x minus 2. And I get x squared plus 5x minus 2 minus 3x plus 2. Now I'm going to combine like things, and I get x squared. 5x minus 3x is plus 2x. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So I get x squared plus 2x. Now I'm going to take make a new function called the product function, f times g of x. So I'm going to take f of x, and I'm going to multiply it by g of x. So f of x is x squared plus 5x minus 2, and I'm going to multiply it by 3x minus 2. So I get 3x cubed minus 2x squared plus 15x squared. I'm just distributing, minus 10x minus 6x plus 4. Now I'm going to gather up like things, and I get 3x cubed plus 13x squared minus 16x plus 4. And this is my product function, f times g of x. It's another function made out of multiplying two functions together. All right, so this one we're going to find f over g of x. So we're going to do x squared plus 5x minus 2 over 3x minus 2. That's all we have to do on this one, except for state what my domain cannot equal. And it can't equal anything that makes 3x minus 2 0. So I say 3x minus 2 cannot equal 0, 3x cannot equal 2, and x cannot equal 2/3. So as long as x does not equal 2/3. Okay? So this is your video question. So go ahead and try this out and come back and check your solutions. All right, here we go. I'm going to add these two together. This is f of x plus g of x. And this one I'm going to get 3x squared plus 7x plus 2x squared minus x minus 1. And I'm going to get 5x squared plus 6x minus 1. All right, how'd you do? I'm adding them together. So square this in. Oops, I don't know what's going on with my pen. Lost my place here. Now I'm going to subtract these two. So I get f of x minus g of x. Don't forget to distribute the negative across the whole second term, or second polynomial. So I'm going to get 3x squared plus 7x minus 2x squared minus x minus 1. This gives me 3x squared plus 7x minus 2x squared plus x plus 1. So I get x squared plus 8x plus 1. Get rid of that. And that's my difference, or my subtraction function. Now I'm going to multiply these two together. So this is f of x times g of x. So I'm going to get 3x squared plus 7x times 2x squared minus x minus 1. And I'm going to get 6x to the 4th minus 3x cubed minus 3x squared plus 14x cubed minus 7x squared minus 7x. So now I'm going to gather up like things, and I have 6x to the 4th. And then minus 3x cubed plus 14, so that becomes plus 11x cubed. And then I have negative 3x squared and negative 7x squared minus 10x squared minus 7x. All right, and now we're going to make a quotient out of the two. 3x squared plus 7x over 2x squared minus x minus 1. Now in order to find out what makes this denominator 0, I'm going to have to factor it. So I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 2 and add to negative 1. And that's going to be, sorry, this is getting kind of cramped, negative 2 and 1. So I'm going to get 2x squared minus 2x plus x minus 1. I'm going to group and factor. So I get 2x, and that gives me x minus 1 plus 1, x minus 1. So then I get 2x plus 1. And I get x minus 1. All right, so if either of those go to 0, my denominator goes to 0. So x cannot equal negative 1/2, and x cannot equal positive 1. Right? And our last is an application. So we have a ceramic store which manufactures and sells coffee mugs. The revenue, they call that function R of x, is given by R of x is equal to 6.5x. So that's the money in. Revenue is the money in. And then they say, suppose the function for the cost of manufacturing those coffee mugs, C of x, is given by C of x equals 0.75x plus 1850. They want you to write a profit. Well, the thing you have to know about profit is that it is the revenue minus the cost. So to find our P of x, we're going to form a new function by subtracting those two. So it's going to be R of x minus C of x. And so I'm going to get 6.5x minus 0.75x plus 1850. So that is 5.75x minus 1850. That's my profit function. And now to find the profit at these values, you can plug in using our traditional method, or you could use synthetic division. So P of 500 is going to equal 5.75 times 500 minus 1850, which equals 1,025. And then P of 1,000 equals 5.75 times 1,000 minus 1850, which equals 3,900. And those are our two profit levels. All right, so we're going to be working on some problems in class tomorrow. I'll see you then. Thanks for listening.